Hello, today we will give a lecture on environmental analysis and the subject of strategic management, and this subject is for MBA students. So what is that environmental analysis? It is described as the process which examines and in the components which are both internal and external to the organization, which influence the performance of the organization. The internal components, what we discussed in the previous classes, it is related to the strengths and weaknesses of the organization. The external components represents the opportunities and threats outside the organization. To perform environmental analysis, a constant stream of relevant information gathering is required to find out the course of action. So strategic planners or strategists, they have to collect gathered informations which they use to know the current strategies are useful or not. If they find out that the current strategies are not useful, then they have to set up new or strategic goals, or they have to change their strategies. So, why we have to conduct environmental analysis? It helps to assess employees' performance, customer satisfaction, maintenance cost of the organization, so that the organization they can take corrective actions. Second one, it helps respond the environment uh, positively. When there is any changes happen in the organization, in the environment, the organization cope up with it. It helps to direct threats in advance so that the organization can protect it from that of the threat through appropriate strategies. It also helps to identify opportunity, such as perspective of the market, customer point of view, new product, what are the new segments, technology we can adapt to occupy a maximum share in the market as compared to the competition. Next, what are the steps involved in this environmental analysis? First of all, we have to go for identifying. So, the factors that influence the business NCC are to be identified. What the factors which can affect the organization, so that we can improve the position in the market. The identification is needed at various level. We can identify in corporate level, market, national, global level. After identifying the factors, we have to go for scanning. What is scanning? Scanning implies the process of critically examining the factor and find out their influence on the business. So all the factors, they cannot affect the organization in the same manner. So here we have to find out the factor with the same intensity. Once the important factors are identified, strategy are to be made for its improvement. After identification, then we go for scanning. The third step we have to follow is analyzing. In this step, a careful analysis of the environmental factor is made to determine their effect on the business level and on the businesses as a whole. So different tools are available to go for this analysis, such as we can use benchmarking, Delphi technique, or scenario building. So after these steps, fourth step is forecasting. After identification, examination, and analysis, lastly the impact of the variable is to be forecasted. What it can affect in the future, we have to know it in advance. Environmental analysis is an ongoing process. It is not a static, it is an ongoing process and follows holistic approach that continuously scans the various factors which affect the business environment and covers 360-degree of the horizon. We have to take information, or we have to gather information from various point of view, or than a specific point of view. Our market is facing changes every day. Many new things develop over time, and the whole scenario can alter in only a few seconds. If one company go for changes, then the other organization has to adapt it. Otherwise, the customer they can prefer the new things, and your product can be obsolete. So there are some factors that are beyond our control which we cannot control, and few factors are there which we can control. So business are greatly influenced by their environmental situational factors which determine day-to-day circumstances and have a very impact on the organization. So business must analyze the trend which is happening in the environment, and they have to set strategies accordingly to click in the market. So there are many strategic analysis tools are available that an organization can use, but some are more common or mostly used by the organization. Okay, so a few of them they provide the detailed analysis of the environment, and one of these is pestle analysis, PESTLE analysis. Manager and strategy builder use this analysis to find out where their market currently. It also helps foresee where the organization will be in the future. Pestle analysis consists of various factors that affect the business environment. Each letter in the acronym signifies a set of factors. So the factors can affect every industry directly, or it can have an indirect effect also. So pestle is also called pestle, PESTEL, which denote the following things. P stand for political factor, E stand for economic factor, S stand for social factor, T stand for technological factor, E stand for environmental or we can say ecological factor, L stand for the legal. This pestle analysis, which is sometimes also referred as pest analysis, it is a concept or tool which is used by companies to track the environment they are operating in, or are planning to launch a new product, project, or services in that market. So there are certain questions that one need to know or ask while conducting this analysis, which gives them idea of what things to keep in mind they are. Let's say one organization want to enter into one country, they have to know the prevalent economic factors there, whether the economic condition is good in that country or not. Then they have to also know the culture, what type of culture is prevailing there, what is the impact of the culture in that country, how can it affect the industry. Then third one, they can also know the political situation of the country, how it can affect, how the political interference in this industry. What are the new technology? It is the next question we have to know. What are the innovation? What are the impact of this innovation on the industry? Then we also have to consider about the environmental concern for the industry. Are there any current rule regulation made for the industry or not? That also we have to identify. So any change in the legislation, how it is affecting. So all these aspects are crucial for any industry. This framework represents one of the important backbone of strategic management, which helps the organization to decide what it should do to achieve its objectives and goals. Then next, we have to discuss it in a elaborate way. It is very critical for one to understand the complete depth of each of the letter of pestle. What are the things we have to discuss one by one? So P stands for political factor. It shows the extent to which a government may influence the economy or a certain industry. For example, government in India they impose GST. So how it is affecting the organization. So political factor can include tax policies, fiscal policies, tariffs they have to charge on import and export duties, etc., which affect the business environment. After political, second most important is the economic factors. So what is this economic factor? These are the factors which determine the economic performance that directs they're having impact on the company or had an effect on the business. For example, when there is a rise of inflation rate of any economy would affect the way the companies price their products and services. It also have an effect on the purchasing power of individual customer. So we have to consider the economic factor. So what are the economic factor? We can include inflation rate, we can include interest rates, foreign exchange rates, economic growth pattern, etc. Then social, it stands for social factor. These factors scrutinize the social environment of the market and determine like cultural trends, demographic factors, population. An example for that can be buying decision in our country during a puja, let's say it is Diwali, Dasahara. So it can show us the social factor. So after social factor, T stand for technological factor. What is this technological factor? These factors pertain innovation in technology that might affect the operation of the industry and the market favorably or unfavorably. So here technology, it can affect the process through which we have to provide the product or service, or in which way we can go for designing the product. So this refers to automation, research development, and the amount of technology awareness that a market possesses. Then comes legal factor. These factors have both external and internal side. There are certain laws that affect the business environment in certain countries, while there are certain policies that company maintains for themselves. So what the company maintain for themselves, that is the internal one, and what the country pose laws for this industry, that is external factor. Companies, they make the strategy or policies to maintain themselves properly. So legal analysis take into account both of these angle, internal as well as external, to formulate the strategy in the light of legislation. For example, we can think about consumer laws, safety standard, labor laws, etc. Then the last one is environmental factor. These factors include all those that influence or are determined by the surrounding, and it is crucial for certain industry. Particularly, for example, it is tourism, it is farming, agriculture, pesticide industry, etc. So law regulating environment related to pollution, air and water pollution, weather, climate change, etc. These are comes under the environmental factor. So today topic, what we discuss, environmental analysis. Here we have to study various factors which can affect the organization. So beforehand, the organization, they have to know all these factors well, so that they can develop the strategies. If they're running well, it's okay. If they're not, then they have to prepare themselves or formulate strategy so that they can achieve their goals and objectives properly. So for today, this much. Thank you.